Joining us now both on air and on SuperTalk TV. You can go to supertalk.fm/watch. It's Governor Tate Reeves of the state of Mississippi. Governor, how are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, Dave. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, and I just have to say before we get started, you gave me the biggest smile I've had in a while with your tweet about where you retweeted the murder hornet story, and you just said, "You've got to be kidding me." I got the biggest grin out of that. That was awesome. It was well done.
Well, I had a buddy send me a note in the last 24 hours that said that he had heard a rumor that those hornets did not fare particularly well in warm weather, and I reminded him they said the same thing about the coronavirus, and so we're preparing our emergency plan for those wild hornets, and to go along with the hurricanes and the tornadoes and the floods and the DHS scandal and the prison crisis. We've been busy over here in state government for sure.
Well, let me ask you this, and let's get right to it. Monday, you probably had more passion in your voice than I've seen in a while when you started talking about the disagreement that is going on between the governor's office and the legislature regarding the handling of the CARES Act funds, that $1.25 billion. And I do know you're facing a deadline tomorrow, I believe it is, whether or not to veto that legislation. Have you made a decision yet? Or I guess the better question is, you're saying that you've been delivered a piece of paper, not a bill. In your opinion, is there anything to veto yet?
Well, we certainly believe that every senator has the right to hold a bill on a motion to reconsider on the day after the actual vote. What I would tell you is that this is an issue that I'm passionate about, and I know my friends and colleagues on the other side are passionate about their views as well. And so what we're going to continue to look towards is making sure that we get this money out to the people of Mississippi as expeditiously as possible, as quickly as possible. Because, Dave, the fact is, and you know, the fact is that people back home, they don't really care about the nuances that we're debating in Jackson. They just need help, and they are people that need help out there. Our barbershop owners, our salon owners, our people who work in those professions, gymnasiums, other facilities that we as a government have made the decision, as unfortunate as it is, unfortunately as necessary as it is, we've made the decision to keep those in interpersonal contact from being able to open so as to protect the public health. We need to work together to get them money as quickly as possible, and that's something I'm committed to, and we certainly have opportunities to work on that over the next several days, and we're committed to trying to do that.
Well, and of course, the legislature reconvening tomorrow, which of course is the deadline for the veto, which may or may not be a coincidence. But how quickly do you see this being resolved to the point to where we can start getting that money into the hands of municipalities and the people that do so desperately need it right now?
Well, that's obviously a very important goal that we have, is to get monies spent throughout Mississippi. We've got people that are hurting. We've got a public health crisis in our state. We also have an economic crisis in our state. We've had, Dave, you know this, but we've had almost 200,000 Mississippians file for unemployment assistance. The vast majority of those individuals, Dave, have never filed for government help in their life. And this is a terribly unfortunate and tragic event. We had a day yesterday, which was reported earlier this morning, in which we had 215 new cases, and that is a number that is much better than the over 300 we've had on 2 or 3 different occasions over the last 4 or 5 days. But we had a large number of deaths today. And so not only are Mississippians dying, Mississippians are continuing to contract the virus. Many of those, again, are in those areas where we're seeing the most transmission. Counties like Scott and Leake and Neshoba, counties like Atala. And so I think it's really important that we understand that we have both things going on at the same time. That is public health crisis that the Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Health and I are trying to manage, and also trying to work with the legislature and others to get money into the hands of people that need it very quickly.
And that is the big challenge right now. And you brought me you brought me over to a question I was going to get to later, but let's go ahead and deal with it right now. The current Safer at Home order is set to expire on Monday, the 11th. With what you're seeing in the numbers and everything that you're hearing from Dr. Dobbs and everything else, do you think there's any chance that that would be extended, or is it going to be allowed to expire on Monday based on what we know right now?
Well, what we've tried to do is to methodically reopen those industries that are not yet reopened. And Dave, remember, when we talk about reopening our economy, reopen our economy, it means different things to different states. I heard a Democrat governor in the Northeast say about 2 weeks ago that he was looking towards late May to reopen his economy, and he was going to start by reopening manufacturing and outdoor construction. Well, both of those industries were never closed in Mississippi. And so, we've got a large number of businesses and individuals that have never been closed, that are working, that are doing it in a safe, responsible way. And so we were very slow and got criticized by many for being very slow in going into a shelter-in-place order. We only left it in effect a little over 2 weeks. And then we were allowed the Safer at Home order, where we were very surgical in nature in what we kept closed based upon the guidelines set forth by President Trump, by Dr. Birx and their team at the Coronavirus Task Force, led by the Vice President, but also in talking with our public health officials where we could get them comfortable as well.
Well, and one question, and we're getting a lot of questions on the C Spire text line up here, is regarding an issue that you've talked about. You talked about it yesterday in your press conference. One of the industries that's the hardest hit is beauty salons, barbershops, things like that. Now, for obvious reasons, it hasn't impacted me, but a lot of folks out there, in terms of the folks that run these businesses, are looking for some kind of help here. They're looking for a lifeline. And with the discussion going on and the arguments back and forth about who's going to handle the funds, I think some people are just looking for a ray of hope to hang on to, that they're going to get some form of relief, whether it's to be reopened or whether it's to get some sort of financial relief from the CARES Act funds. Is there any glimmer of that happening pretty soon here?
Yes. My hope is that we can get them both of those things done in very short order. We want to get them back open, but we also believe that we ought to make financial payments to each of them, to make payments to them individually, because most of them don't have the ability to utilize, for instance, the PPP program that many small businesses took advantage of. Some of them did, but a lot of them didn't have the advantage of doing that. And so we want to go in and make sure that we get money in their pocket as quickly as possible, because the small business owners that operate many of these salons and operate many of these barbershops, I mean, they've got rent to pay, they've got utilities to pay, and their government has told them, because it's not safe publicly, that they cannot open their business. And so we very much want to do both of those things. We want to get them back open as quickly as possible, and we're looking and moving towards a safe way in which to do that. But also, I believe very strongly that we can get money in their pockets very quickly once we can move beyond this next couple of days.
Well, and I think the next couple of days are the big question. And one question that a lot of people have had is, with the status of that legislation, that Senate bill that was passed last Friday being what it is, which is somewhat in limbo right now, are you still able to do something with some of these funds before that goes into law, or are you just kind of holding back to wait to see how this process plays out?
Well, we certainly believe that we have the legal authority to do something. But we also know that we respect the legislative process. We know that they have passed a bill. If they had not passed the bill, we would certainly have probably already been able to send out monies. But we respect the process. We respect the individuals that are involved in it. And we are very hopeful that we can continue to work to find a resolution that gets money out the door very quickly and also satisfies the concerns of all involved. But yes, we believe we have the legal authority to do it. That's been in dispute. There are others who do not believe that, but we certainly believe that we have the legal authority to do it. And so we're trying to navigate our way through that process.
Well, Governor, I realize you've got to go. You're kind of busy these days. Watch out for the murder hornets, please.
Well, thanks so much, Dave. I appreciate y'all having me on today, and take care, stay safe, and God bless.
You're welcome back anytime. Governor Tate Reeves here on SuperTalk Mississippi on the